Internet. Good morning, Internet, because like always, you might be watching from the other side of the world, not Australia. We do have to thank everyone for tuning in to Laps for Leuko. It's day 11, everyone. We have crossed the 4,000 kilometre mark. Now, for those playing at home, Australia from memory, from Perth to Melbourne is 3,600 kilometres, and we've driven longer than that so far. So, I probably should have given up work for the week last week and driven across Australia instead of putting myself through some of the rubbish I've enjoyed in the sim, but we are here to spend some time driving in the simulator, running laps no matter how difficult it gets, in the interest of raising funds and awareness for Leukodystrophy Australia. So we have how many days to go? We've got 19 days to go, including today, which could be interesting because we've got some big events coming up. And tonight we thought, well, it's probably a good idea to practice for an endurance race we have coming up on Saturday night, which is the Indy 6 hour. Now, this is Indianapolis Road course, and it's a IMSA race with hypercars and GT3 cars. So we drive the mid-range LMP2 car. So effectively, we've got the busiest car on track. We do have to be worrying about being overtaken, and we do have to worry about overtaking as well. So quite a lot to navigate there. I am sharing the car with two of the guys from Missed Apex Racing League. You probably heard me talk about them before in the stream. We are sharing with Old Man Jumbo, whose name you'll see on my screen in a few minutes, and also Autobat, one of the newer guys to MARL, who's very, very interested in the endurance side of it. Much like me, that's the reason I got into iRacing and decided to open up my wallet and credit card to the great team at iRacing. It is a very, very fun computer game. Really, it is. You said we've spoken about that. There's no denying it's just a computer game. But at the moment, it's filling my evenings, and it's filling your TV or computer or phone or tablet, whatever, with my voice and my face and my race cars and my shenanigans. So I do again want to thank everyone who's tuned in so far. I have again heard from Leukodystrophy Australia, and the donations have rolled in a little bit. So I do appreciate everyone who's managed to spare a dollar. Like always, the the fundamental project here is raising awareness for them. It's a very new diagnosis to us, and we're learning along the way. And we are now involved with the organisation as a we have them as a support network. Their main role is advocacy for families affected by leukodystrophy. I do I do plan to have them on board in the stream at some stage in the next week or so. We've got, as I said, we've got 19 days left, so I plan to get them on board so we can have a bit of a chat with them and get more of an insight into leukodystrophy from the people that are way more experienced with that than I. But tonight we've got our uh, league owner, Mr. Old Man Jumbo, on board for a bit of a chat. So the idea, I think I had an episode a bit earlier in the month. The idea was to talk about Missed Apex Racing League because it's been such an important part of, I'd probably say, my life for the last couple of years. I think I alluded in a couple of episodes about having the opportunity to meet up with a few guys, and they do get to know your family because we sit and chat most days of the week. We race twice a week, sometimes 3 nights a week, but we have our Discord chats and all that sort of stuff as well. So I thought, well, it's probably a good idea to get somebody on board who again knows a bit more about league racing than me. He's done a little bit more of it, and he actually manages the league at Missed Apex Racing League. So I think we should be able to hear Mr. Old Man Jumbo in the chat in a second. How are you, mate?
Good evening, Trav. Good evening, everyone. How are you all?
Well, I'm good, mate. I don't know if nobody else can talk to you, so it's something I'm not very good at either, mate. I forget that most of the time I'm actually talking to myself in this game. So
Yeah.
no, I appreciate you taking the time to join in, mate. And you were one of the very first guys to throw your support in for the Laps for Lukio project as a mate and as a sort of user of this game as well. I did, as you know, I ummed and ahed about sort of getting this project running a couple of times and whether it was worth it, but you've sort of pushed me in the right direction, mate, didn't you?
Absolutely, mate. I reckon it's a worthwhile cause, and I'm happy to get behind anything. And after meeting you and your family, mate, I was 100% back it. It's a great idea.
It's
And
it's
yeah,
certainly a good platform for it, I think, these days, and that's where I look at where I look at this sort of stuff, like I think I've spoken with you before about the Racing for James project, and I've spoken with people in the chat before about it as well. Like it was a real life race car project that I couldn't make work, unfortunately. But having the technology we've got today is bloody incredible. I think we're really lucky to have video games and chat with people on the other side of the country at any given moment, aren't we?
Absolutely, and it's cheaper than real life motorsport, and doesn't take you away from your family as much as what real life motorsport is. You know, I remember my days in the HSV Owners Club doing super sprints at Eastern Creek, Oran Park, and you're never at home, you know, and trying to balance that with work and fun, it makes it difficult. Where sim racing, you can do it in the comfort of your own home.
Absolutely. I'd almost go so far as to say if I had actually known about sim racing, I mean, I always knew about video games, but if I'd have known about it before I got into real world motorsport, I'd probably even go so far as to say I would have invested in that more so than a real car.
Oh,
Like
100%.
it's incredible you can do this from your lounge room, and you've got a triple screen set up as well, so you know what I'm
Correct,
talking
yeah.
about when the system is just there and it works. Hey.
Well, look at the money that I've spent on real cars. I got a VL in my garage that's kind of just stopped as a project, and the money I've spent on that already, where I could have put into a rig from day one, would be phenomenal. You could have a full motion system for that money.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing is, if we invested back then as well, before COVID really took its toll on the sim racing industry, we would have been way better off again. But
100%.
that was the
Exactly
catalyst for
right.
it for most of us, though, wasn't it? Having to be stuck at home, and that's where it really took off.
It was, and for me, getting into the whole gaming thing, because I've just retired, as you know, after 26 years in the Navy. It was a medical retirement for me, and it's a big adjustment to all of a sudden being at home. And my rehab coordinator suggested gaming, just to keep those reflexes up.
Oh, there you
Hand-eye
go.
coordination. I was too injured to play sport anymore, and obviously too injured to work, hence why I was retired. And she said, what do you think about computer games? I said, I had the original PlayStation and Xboxes and everything else, So that was the catalyst for me to get back into gaming, and was as a 45-year-old at the time. There's been I've been out 5 years, so yeah, COVID was 2019. 2020, sorry. So yeah, that's where I started.
Absolutely. So it's designed for your reflexes.
Absolutely, yeah. And I started off just playing Call of Duty, and just those motor skills that, as you get older and you're not doing those things anymore, you lose them. So you got to use them or lose them.
Well, there you go. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's pretty crazy. So have you found that well, you obviously found that's helped. It had made the difference, or it's still a work in progress?
No, I feel that I actually think my hand-eye coordination is better now than what it was prior. It's just the brain, hand, feet movements, getting it all to coordinate.
Absolutely.
And you see it as you get older, you do lose those skills and those reflexes. So yeah, this has been good for that.
Absolutely. It is something I've noticed of late since upgrading a lot of my gear. The reaction time to what's happening on the screen, because you are simulating driving at pretty excessive speeds, aren't you? Like it's pretty much as close to real world racing as you can actually get. It's pretty mind blowing, and you've got to react to that. You've got to react to the differences in internet speed sometimes as well, don't you? So it's probably more important to have good reflexes in a computer game, and make sure you can try and not ruin other people's races on track. Hey.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at just when I first started sim racing, what my lap times were and my own abilities, and I can tell that they've improved just in that time. You know what I mean? So, and that all comes down to coordination, a lot of it, and your reflexes.
Absolutely. It's teaches you a lot about yourself, doesn't it? And like you said, it's one of those things. If you don't use it, you've got to stay at it. It's one thing I've learnt with my body over the last couple of years, and I think you do Pilates and exercises as well, and I learned a lot about my muscle groups. I'm only late 30s, but started to really realise I wasn't using the right muscles, and even those aspects of life do help with sim racing, because it strengthens your body up, it strengthens your mind to react to everything on track. And it's crazy that real world fitness, because motorsport drivers have to be fit because they've got to be in the car for long periods of time, deal with the G-forces, etc. But you still need that mental sharpness in a computer game world as well, because it's so well represented to what the real world is, minus the movement in your seat.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool, mate. So, so you're obviously the guy behind Missed Apex Racing League.
Yep.
So the name of Missed Apex, I actually didn't put this in my questions, and I let the secret out yesterday that we had predefined questions. But where did Missed Apex Racing League come from? It's something I've never actually asked you, mate.
Well, so where it come from was that originally, so when we got into sim racing, I joined a British league because I didn't know anything about leagues. I was only on the Xbox. And a snappy Google search led me to a league over in England. But it was to race with them. I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that was just getting a bit hard to do that. And then I actually had my alarm didn't hear my alarm one morning. I missed a race, and they just said, "Look, mate, you've missed the race. In Australia, we appreciate your commitment, but it's a bit awkward. We can give it to someone that's local." I said, "Yeah, that's no worries, understood." So I thought, well, how hard is it to do my own league? I've managed people and organisations to my time in the Navy. So I set about starting it myself, and I needed a name for the league. And for me, basically Apex was a club. I couldn't find an Apex on the racetrack if my life depended on it. So Missed Apexes, that's how I come about it.
There you go. I actually, I think I actually started with the British leagues as well.
Yep.
So that's how I first got into it on the Xbox side of it. I think that's purely a population thing. Like we just don't have enough users in Australia to. So when you do these searches online, you get the more populated leagues popping up, and pretty surprised that you missed one race and got booted from the league. I guess there's a pretty high attrition rate in leagues for that sort of stuff, because you want the league to be pretty family friendly, which I find MARL to be. You need to fit it in around your personal time, don't you?
Absolutely, and it was a very big league, and with Xbox you were limited to grid spots.
Ah, that's right.
It's not like here where we can have 40 odd cars on track. I think there were limited to maybe 15 by memory. I think.
Yeah, it was. I think the numbers increase now with the latest updates they've run, but
yeah,
I think you're right. It was when we were doing it, 2 years ago now, 18 months ago.
Yeah.
It's changed a bit in that world as well. And console racing, like for those at home, you can get into this sort of sim racing we're doing for much cheaper than a PC. Like we're on a couple of $1,000 PCs these days because we got well and truly down the rabbit hole. But I started on an Xbox Series S, which you could pick up second hand for $150 these days, Australian. So it's actually really, really accessible getting into this, and you don't need a big fancy sim rig. It's nice to have, and you'll probably end up with one, but starting on that console was a very, very great way to get into it for most of us. And I think everyone in Missed Apex Racing League come from that side of it, did they?
Correct, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we all started on console. So that was the league starting, was a console league. Nice. And my first rig was an old Logitech system on a wooden frame that I'd knocked up with the kids as a science project during COVID when they were all stuck at home.
Perfect.
So, and now I'm in a profile rig with triples. So just, as you can afford it, and you just upgrade bits and pieces as you're going along.
Well, absolutely. We've got a couple of guys in the league that are on some pretty entry-level gear as well, and they're rapid quick though, aren't they? So
absolutely, they are.
Go to show that you can make it happen with whatever. I mean, the guys are starting to upgrade because we are into the endurance racing where you want the comfort of a profile rig and the better gear to keep that consistency up. But you can certainly achieve it, can't you?
Oh, 100% you can, yeah. I mean, I think I can do with a better seat. I've got a fixed back seat out of my old VL, and it's not the most comfortable after a couple of hours. And I think that's what lets me down a little bit. You get uncomfortable in the seat, and your concentration wanes because you're worried about your back's hurting or your legs hurting, and your lap times drop off and your concentration levels drop off, just like driving a normal car,
Absolutely, it is very fatiguing, isn't it? And you're right, you got to look after your body because we're not designed to sit down for long periods of time. And ergonomics is one thing that we've got a lot of technology around now as well. So you can choose different seats, and the profile rig will allow you to fit whatever you want in there.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Oh dear, are you out on track yet, mate?
I am. I've done 8 laps.
Nice, nice. I did jump in that tune. I've jumped out of that tune. I know what you meant about it being a bit fishtailing through that
Yeah.
change of direction. So I'm just trying the medium downforce iRacing tune at the moment, just to see what that feels like. Are you running the don't use tune?
Correct. Yeah, but I think it's settled down. I think because obviously the temperature's different to what was in the practice lobby.
Gotcha.
It's actually quite comfortable to drive.
Okay, maybe I might jump back into it then, and maybe I'm not waiting for the tyres to warm up enough.
Well, it could also be that I am no Peter Brock and can't talk race cam, so try to talk and drive.
Well, if it helps any, I'm not either, because I've been driving all sorts of cars over the last couple of weeks, and the last thing I'm good at is changing cars. So it's quite the exercise, but we'll get 6 hours to be familiar with the car in just a few days' time, won't we?
We will.
Oh, that's the joy of it. And we're actually looking forward to it. You're into your endurance racing? Is that one of the reasons you moved to PC, or what brought you over to this side of the game?
I was getting bored with Xbox and the racing games on it. We started off on Project Cars 2. That was fantastic. Lots of variety in what you could do. Then we jumped out of that because it was having issues into the original Assetto Corsa, and we had some fun with that while we were waiting for ACC to come out. And then we were on ACC for a good 2 years, but you're very limited in what you could do. As we'd pretty much done every combination you could within that game to keep it interesting. So iRacing for me was where I always wanted to go. Purely to the variety.
Absolutely, it is one of those things I've shown it pretty well in this stream so far. One night you can drive an Indy car on the other side of the world, then you can drive a V8 supercar at Mount Panorama. It is really cool. It is an investment, but it's worth it for that exact reason. It's got everything you want.
We're kind of conditioned now for subscription services, aren't we, with our Netflixes and our other streaming channels? So it's just another subscription service.
Absolutely, that's exactly right. And when you look at the cost of iRacing, you buy a new track every 3 months. It's probably cheaper than a subscription service. And, and I'm in the rig every night at the moment, so I'm getting pretty good value out of it. So we do complain about the price of iRacing a bit, but it's not so bad in the scheme of things, really.
No, that's right, exactly right. It's not too bad for $10 for a car or $14 for a track when you think about it. And once you've got a few pieces, obviously you get the discount as well.
Exactly. Yep.
So that makes it a bit easier. And I'm at the point now that when new content comes out, it's usually only 3 bits you got to buy. You get a couple of new cars and a couple of new tracks, and they always give you some free content. So every 12 weeks you might be spending that $30 odd to buy the new content when it comes out.
Absolutely. And the time iRacing are actually investing in the game is it makes the investment of it worthwhile as well, because every month or every quarter there's a huge update to graphics, physics, whatever you want. So they're genuinely putting into their investors, and I'd call us investors because we're the ones paying the bills. But yeah,
absolutely,
it's really good, and that's the other benefit out of a computer system. I know we had a lot of glitches with ACC on console when we were racing, as they were trying to roll out the bigger updates, but you've got to expect those sort of issues. And you just don't get those issues with iRacing, so it's a nice to have for your investment. So.
Absolutely. I remember when we had to stop league racing because they were, cars were getting disqualified. You didn't cross the finish line or go too fast because you get kicked out.
That's right.
It was kind of a lucky dip as if you would actually finish a race.
That's right. We had some good fun with that, though, didn't we? We still carried on.
Did.
We did. That was where the true MARL spirit really kicked off. We don't very often give up on events, do we?
No, improvise, adapt, overcome.
Exactly. Except when Travi's driving and he kills it at Daytona. I think that's the only major endurance race we've abandoned, isn't it? And because we were worried about everyone else.
That's right. Yep. Well, I just followed. There's another LMP2 dressed like mine in front of me.
Oh, it is. I'll be 2 seconds, mate.
It's a bit of traffic to deal with, isn't it?
Alright, sorry, I just had Mitchell just tuned into the stream to check the volume, and he said Jumbo is loud and clear and Travi's a little bit quiet, so it's gonna
Hey Mitch. Whoa.
He's He's my little media guy. I reckon that's going to
doing
be
well.
his role from now on. He's nailing
Absolutely.
it. I think everyone's here to hear you, not me, mate. So he's nailed his job.
My dulcet tones.
That's the fun of it, mate. Like I said, it's hard to talk and race a car. These GT3s are crazy.
Especially, I'm following you, and then that gaggle of cars just then trying to get through was a bit tricky.
Absolutely. So you did answer my first couple of questions there in that first little bit of a chat, mate. As I said, I actually learned a little bit about you, and I didn't realise the reasons you got into it. So I appreciate that, mate. But I wanted to ask. So you're obviously the league owner here.
Yep.
So what do you enjoy about having a league? Like what's keeping you going? You've been running it for coming up on 5 years now. So what is it about a league that you like?
It's the friendships. It's like any teams, in my mind, it's like any team sport or a family, really. I've made some wonderful friends out of this. You know, yourself, Michael, Punt. You know, there's too many to mention. And it's that camaraderie, and you get to know each other, and it's all about the fun, really. And it's always fun doing things with mates. So that's the main thing I enjoy about the league. There are some downsides to being the league owner, and that's trying to keep everyone happy. You can never keep everyone happy. The Good Ideas Club come along, and you know, you've got to be firm sometimes, and people get upset about that. But you know, it is what it is, and yeah, it can be frustrating at times as the league owner. But I think there's more good than there is bad to it.
Absolutely. You mentioned the big thing there, the social side of it. Oh, that was Tom in chat. You mentioned that the social side. That's what league racing's about, isn't it? Really, it's we catch up 2 nights a week. Sometimes we race on a Sunday as well. And you guys, I remember the old Xbox days. You'd hear Hot Wheels, young James, who racing for James is all about, in the background, because we didn't have such a good headset that didn't have the noise cancellation. And he quickly became a bit of a celebrity, didn't he?
He did. We had a bit of a laugh about him. It was,
absolutely.
You know, it was good fun. I mean, I think the other thing is too, where league racing is different to open lobbies, is that you get to understand how the guys drive around you. You don't have a lot of those random occurrences like you do in public lobbies where you don't know the people. You kind of get to know each other's driving habits, which makes things probably a bit, well, what's the word, safer? The term you'd use in sim racing, I suppose.
Absolutely, that is a very good point. I mean, you have a look at V8 supercars or NASCAR or whatever it may be. They drive with the same drivers week in, week out, don't they?
That's right.
We're affected by jumping into an online lobby with effectively 49 other drivers who you've never raced with before, and the downfalls of internet connection as well. So you can never quite be sure what's going to happen, and that's one of the big things about league racing is the consistency. You're right, mate. Who'd you kill?
I got killed.
Oh, you got killed by a real person or an AI?
AI, I just got slopped into the wall. And the best thing about sim racing is, and which is also one of the downfalls we'll probably talk about later, is I just restart and go again.
Exactly. Yep, just jump in and get a brand new car.
Yep. I was just thinking about what I was going to say before. And how I came about the league was that after I got kicked out, we started off just as a Facebook group.
Ah, there you go.
And, you know, did all the points on an Excel spreadsheet, and it was pretty low tech at the time, because obviously COVID hit, so there was lots of people starting leagues, you know. And when I started, I didn't think anyone was going to turn up. There was 10 guys I messaged, and they actually turned up, and I went, oh wow. And we got through a first season. I was like, that's crazy. This happened. And then they come back, and then most of them have been here the whole time.
It is good when they all get in chat, isn't it?
Yes.
So they've all made the migration. Well, the vast majority have made the migration to PC, and we do get together a bit these days. And it was like the old Xbox days. Quite a bit of fun and quite a laugh some nights.
Yep. But managing the league was, when I was doing it all on my own, was pretty hard. It does take it out of you, and it was distracting me from my driving.
Yes.
When you're worrying about everyone else, what they're doing, and the crashes and everything else, and trying to settle people down. So it is quite taxing mentally. in running the league, but I learnt from that, and I got some good people to help me run it. And especially now that we've split the league to console and PC, I've got guys running the console side of the house, and I've got guys helping me out with the PC side of the house. So now it's with having people on board and a team, I can actually just enjoy driving now.
Oh, and the added benefit, iRacing calculates everything for you as well. Like there's a few bits where we've learnt technology along the way. I have a pretty good insight into what you guys do, and I do help out with little tasks here and there. And it is too much for one person. Even it's like moderating a Facebook group or any social club. I mean, you know what sporting clubs are like. There's always that need to try and please everyone, which you alluded to before, and it's the online world is not exempt from that.
That's right.
But you need to build that team around you, and it does feel as a user of the league and as somebody who deals with you guys a lot, it does feel that balance is there for me. So
yeah,
and it's good to see we've got a few new members in that are joining in the Tuesday night IndyCar races, and the standards have just crept up. The more people that join, the racing's just getting better and better and faster, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Last night at Virginia, before we raced, I thought, this is going to be wreckfest. I didn't think it was going to be a good night of racing, but surprisingly, and which is a testament to the guys that we got in the league, it was good racing.
It is. It's good. I know when I first started, I remember ACC, I would always crash into Jumbo. Always. I think I ruined about 6 million of his races, and I thought, what the hell am I doing on this computer game? But it's about learning those styles, and when the new guys jump in the league, you sort of get worried. What are they going to be like? Are they going to fit in? And yeah, it's cool to see it grow, especially in open wheelers, because they are so dangerous.
Absolutely.
You have to be super mindful of those tyres poking out the side of your car.
We tried open wheelers in the early days of Xbox with PC2, and we as a group weren't at that level to be able to achieve it.
Yep.
It was absolute carnage. So to see, and what we've always tried to do at MARL as well, especially when we've started in a new game, and you would have seen that with iRacing, we start small and build people up. So we started with the Formula Fords, and we bring everyone's skill level up. You know, it's a bit hard if they've joined later on, but the guys that have come straight in, we've stepped from Formula V to Formula Ford to F4. You know, we've progressively built the cars up and people's skill levels up, which I think helps. Where if you just dive straight into a league, sometimes it can be a bit out of your depth with that. So we've always tried to help people as we go along.
Absolutely, it is. Well, you've got to really look at it, and we touched on it before about this being such a good simulation for what it's like to drive a real-world race car. Real-world guys starting go-karts, they start in Formula Fords, they do build up to it. So, if you, I like to treat the game as a sim. I think I've spoken to you about that before, where I like to pretty much pretend that I'm driving the car, and you've got to bring it home for your whole team. Not pretend I do, like that's what we do, but that's what happens in your normal race progression, and it's good to have a league that does that. And obviously we're at a point now where we are in some faster cars, but there's always that opportunity to go back to its roots and reinforce the driving standards for the guys that are already in the league as well, because slow cars do produce good racing as well. Now that we've all got the skills to run the faster cars, take that back to the slower cars, and you have even better, closer, faster battles, don't you?
Absolutely, and that's what you want. You don't want a spread out field.
No.
You want the guys in battling. You know, like that's what makes the racing exciting. As you know, there's nothing worse when if you have a stack or something and you're 20 seconds behind the field and you just spend the rest of the night driving by yourself. It's not that fun. You know,
exactly.
You want that excitement, and well, especially that race in the Radicals at Monza, we're all giggling like little girls.
We were. That was brilliant, wasn't it?
It was fantastic night of racing. You know,
we were a little bit apprehensive it was going to be a draft party and a bit boring, but the fights going on the track were what it's all about. And that other IndyCar race, you were in that one where it was just lap after lap, 3 wide, 4 wide.
Yep.
Were you there for that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
Beautiful.
It's and that's, as a league owner, hearing everybody enjoying themselves like that, that's satisfaction for me. You know what I mean? Like that means I'm doing the right thing and everyone's happy. It's a good feeling. You know, that's what makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely. How are you settling in with the car on track here? Still running at
Well,
the
after I
moment?
didn't concentrate and black flag myself coming out of the pits because I just floored it, I'm now back out on track again. Oh, I've got a GTP running up the inside, 3 wide.
It's a busy track when there's a lot of cars. I think this is what it's going to be like on Saturday night, isn't it?
It will be, yeah.
It's pretty, and I'm having a look. Like the GT3s are going 2 and 3 wide into corners. It's yeah. I think it's what we're going to see.
You have to have your head on a swivel.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the it's a good thing about doing it with a team and having spotters, and there'll be 2 of us to watch what's going on up and down the track.
Yeah.
That's that is an awesome part of this game, being able to. Well, we've done 24-hour races, we've done 6 hours, 3 hours, all that sort of stuff, and it's awesome. It really is awesome.
It's just a different version of being in it's a different sporting team.
Yep.
You know, it's you know, when you're out there playing cricket, soccer, footy, whatever, you know, you've got that camaraderie with your teammates. And when we're doing the enduros and we're out a team, it's the same thing. And it's, you know, you have the highs and the lows, and we celebrate the wins, and we've all had moments where we cursing ourselves and spat the dummy because we've done something silly and it's affected our teammates. You know, that's human nature, but that's what team sports, and this is really a team sport is all about.
It is. It's always fun when things go wrong, because within about an hour or so, it's all laughs again, though, isn't it?
Absolutely,
we quickly forget about it. That's it is that relationship you build with the guys in the team, and any one of the guys in the league really. Like, they have a pretty crappy night, we give them a rev up. You give them the bit of fun and bit of banter they deserve for making a mistake, and it really lightens the mood. It is good fun.
That's exactly right.
It is. So talking about sim racing, Jumbo, what would you change about it? So you've been involved in the console side, the PC side, obviously the league side as a user and as an owner. What would you change about it, given how advanced it is now? What would you like?
This might be a bit of a random answer for you, but I think, like, equipment, everything else is fine now, but the thing I'd love to change in sim racing is the attitude of some drivers. And the reset button generation that have been gaming for years. You know, you get a lot of people that come in and they think they're Senna, Prost, Brock, Johnson, whatever, and they drive outside their capabilities.
Yep.
And they might enjoy it because they just reset, but they forget that there's someone else on the other end of that screen that they've hit. It's not like you're racing against AI in the old days with Forza and everything else. It didn't matter if you took out another car. I'm beached. If you can go around, if you can jump out of your car and have a look where I am, I'm actually beached. I can't get the car
on the curb.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Whereabouts on track? I'll come around and find you.
Turn 4.
Turn 4. Sweet. I'll be there in a second.
Okay, I'll just sit here and wait and talk. And yeah, so I think people's attitude is what does need to improve in sim racing. You know, there's nights there where you'd be having a good run and, you know, you get taken out by someone and they, no apology or whatever, you know, they just carry on as business normal. There's actually another human on the end of that. And people have to be mindful of that it's not just, yeah, it's fine for them, they can just reset and off they go again, but they've actually affected someone else. There we go, I'm getting a push. Keep pushing, there we go, a bit more. I'm actually well beached.
Nope. It's not going to work. Nope.
Speaking of the reset buttons, I might have to press
yep, watch him, here he goes. Look at him, not even waiting for the tow truck. No, I think
can't even reverse out.
No, your back tyres are well off the ground.
So yeah, that's the one thing I would love to change about sim racing, and you can't. It's a person thing. It's a soft, fleshy interface, and you can't always change people. But I think that's the thing that can really that causes issues within sim racing is just people's attitudes.
Absolutely, I really agree with that, and that revolves exactly back to what we were talking about before about treating it like a sim.
Yes,
and a lot of the games that are just arcade games teach you to want to jump into the faster cars straight away.
Yes.
Whereas if you're investing in iRacing, so there realistically should be less of that sort of attitude in a game that costs this much to set up. However, it is still prevalent, and people want to jump into the fast cars in a sim that is designed to act like a real-world race car, but you've got to understand the fundamentals of driving it.
Yeah.
But that's where the lines get blurred, I guess, between it being a video game, and I spoke about that in a previous stream about making that decision about, do I keep driving it like a sim, or do I transition to driving it like a video game and using those 1Xs. And I think my very first stream at the Nürburgring, I accidentally spun someone out, so I redressed the position. I'm like, I don't have to do that, but I feel it's the right thing to do. It was a genuine sort of mistake. So, but that's that point you get to where you go, well, do you play it like the rest of the people, or do you play it like you want to, and understand that you are going to get taken out when you don't expect to from time to time, and you won't have that generosity returned to you.
Yeah, and I think people take risks that they wouldn't normally if they were wrapped in that metal cage themselves and they had to foot the bill for damage, or there's possible personal injury. You know, that you don't have that in sim racing. You know what I mean? You don't have to pay for any damage. There's no risk involved, so they don't have to worry about the consequence of risk.
Absolutely.
You know, you just can fire away. You know.
And to put that human element to what you said as well, the other thing is a lot of people, we've got a fair bit of time to race. I know we race a couple of nights a week, and with my needs, or with James's needs at home, I don't get out as much as I used to. So I've got time when he goes to bed to jump in the sim because I don't watch TV. But there are a lot of people that don't have the time to do that. So when we're jumping into these races, it may be it an endurance race or be it a 15-minute fixed setup race, you might be racing with somebody on the other side of the world that only has that 15 minutes to jump in and spend the time in the sim. So that's the other side that I always consider when I'm driving.
Absolutely. You've tried to win the race at turn 1 on the first lap, and you've ruined the guy's night who has that 15 minutes only.
Absolutely, and that rolls back to, again, I spoke about it yesterday with the whole mental health side and suicide awareness day, and with Are You OK Day coming up. Like those people are often in the sim for the same reasons that we are, because we have difficult lives at home. We can't get out like we used to. It is our social outlet, isn't it? So
absolutely, it is.
It's kind of a really roundabout conversation, but that's how it all ties in together, and it's amazing to watch it unfold and have that at our fingertips. I said that right at the start of this very stream. So
I mean, you look at the amount of effort we put into a 24-hour race. You know, I spend a week setting up the car, we're practicing, and then you've got some plonker who doesn't care because of his time zone. He can go race in 6 hours time, have another crack at it where we can't, and he fires it down the inside of turn 1 and takes out half the field.
Absolutely, that's a handicap we often talk about being in Australia, isn't it? We don't have the population to warrant a few accessible time zones.
Right.
But I think we're getting better as a team and as a league. I said we've had a few new guys. Chris, for example, Autobat, join in. And he's keen to do the league racing. He's fit right in, and he understands that we're there for that preservation as well. So I find we're pretty good at helping each other stay calm when we're driving and drive to our strategy.
Absolutely.
Which again, it doesn't fit in with the way other people drive the game, which is fine. They're entitled to, but as long as we keep on track and have that fun and have that team environment, it's always going to be a great day, no matter the outcome.
Absolutely. You know, we've got sad over times when we've been taking each other out, but we end up having a laugh about it later. You know, we might go to bed a bit sad about it, but you wake up in the morning and we're teasing each other about what's happened, and we've moved on.
Absolutely. Well, that was my next question. Is like with the growth of Miss Dave X Racing League, where do you think leagues have a place in gaming? So like obviously you can do sim racing leagues, you can do all sorts of gaming communities. Where do you think they fit into the community? Like what's the place for them in respect to any particular demographic or everyone, or where do you think this sort of stuff fits into the whole genre of the game? I know we sort of touched on it before in a few different answers, but yeah.
I mean, taking away the cost of what it is, but then we did discuss you can do sim racing pretty cheaply if you wanted to, but I think it's inclusive in the fact that you don't. Oh, thanks, Travi.
Where are you?
You just ran at the. Sorry, that was my fault. Oh, it was.
AI.
No, it was
that?
Chris. I just saw the brick car and
gotcha.
someone at the back of me. You don't have to be an athlete to do this. You don't have to be good at sport to do this. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter your fitness level. You know, you can be unfit. You can have injuries and do this. You know, like I can't play football. My injuries preclude from me doing that, but I can do this. You know, there's actually some. I think it was an amputee who does sim racing.
Yeah, there is.
Big Extremes. So it's an inclusive sport, and you don't have to travel. You know, it's in the comfort of your own homes. But, you know, look, I've known you now for 3 years, Trav, I reckon.
It'd be 3, yeah.
I've met you twice. I'd known Michael for 2 years before I met him in person. So you whether you've got anxiety problems, depression, you don't have to worry about triggering your anxiety or, you know, what other mental health problems you may have, because you're at home. You know, you don't have to go and deal with people or be in situations that might not be quite fun for you, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we've got a couple of guys in the league that, we won't name names, but there's a couple of guys in the league that fit that bill. They have a bit of social anxiety, and chatting with them, and we've met people as well, and you chat with them, and they're amazing people. This sort of stuff gives them that avenue to help develop their social skills with that bit of anonymity. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, I've, as you well know, that I've got PTSD, anxiety and depression. So some days I don't want to people, but I can jump on a league race, and I can, if I haven't had enough, I can turn it off and go. But with league racing, I'm around with mates, and it, you know, makes you happy. So you end up tending to change your mood and your minds. You're a bit of a mind shift in how you look at things.
Absolutely, it is a cool tool to have, and I often wonder. I look back and go, well, if I'd have got into sim racing as a kid, I mean, I don't know. I've had a lot of fun growing up, and I'm glad I found it at this point in my life, because I said it to you before, not half an hour ago. It fits in perfectly with my circumstances at home as well. I can't get out like I used to. I've got James to care for, and his changing circumstances with Leukodystrophy.
Yep.
So it is an important tool, and you guys have actually helped me through his diagnosis. I know I put up a bit of a chat, a bit of a spiel to the admin team about what was going on in my life, and the support from absolute strangers. I had met Jumbo once at that stage, that I hadn't met a lot of the other guys, and the actual support from them was like a group of really, really close mates. And I've met quite a few of the boys now, and it just helps bring that friendship closer together. It's not something everyone in league racing will have the opportunity to do, and not everyone will want to meet everyone in the league as well, because of that little bit of a cool factor. Like, you're chatting with strangers on the net, you're really best friends, but you might be a bit worried about actually meeting them in person. I'm excited to have met a lot of the guys here and had that opportunity, and it just sort of really, when we did catch up, it was like we knew each other for years and years, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We all know what's going on in each other's lives to a degree, you know what I mean? And we share things like, I might chat to you and Michael and Punt pretty much every day.
Absolutely.
You know, I've got mates close mates that I don't speak to as much as I speak to you guys, you know, like that live in the area. So it's really weird for that, but it's good, because you can turn it off and just go do something else if you need to, you know what I mean? If it's too overwhelming for you, you can just switch it off and go do what you need to do, you know? Definitely
can. On a side note, getting away from that, have you driven past the Mustangs?
Yeah, I think so.
They sound unreal.
They sound throaty, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I haven't got the Mustang in this game, but they sound incredible.
I just can't bring myself to drive it. It's a Ford.
No, fair enough.
I feel dirty.
It'll happen at some stage. There'll be a special event just to. What are we going to call it? Sucked in Jumbo. We're driving the Ford.
Yeah. Well, I don't own it, so.
No, that's it. It'll be a protest buy. I mean, you did buy Coda, and you don't like Coda, and we raced there pretty successfully. So.
I did say to Punt this afternoon, if someone wanted me to paint them a Mustang, they'd have to buy the car for me.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough.
That would be my condition, that you buy the car for me and I'll paint it up, you know. So, because I mean that's the thing with iRacing as well. I've bought a lot of cars that I will never use.
Yeah, correct.
You do that. That cost does get out of hand a little bit, and I think that's why in the league too, we try and keep the cost down for people. We only like people have to maybe spend like in a season buy one thing, but we always look at it, what will get the most use. So if they do buy a track or a car, are they going to be able to use it outside the league? Like, is there a series running that car or running that track? You know what I mean? So we always are mindful of that. You know, not everyone's. Some people are doing, like in motorsport, they're doing it on different budgets. You know.
No, that's exactly right, and you can actually, realistically, you can run iRacing on the subscription alone, can't you? It's there is plenty of content there if you stick to the rookie races and the D license races, you can get by pretty well and have. I think you could have a lot of fun.
Absolutely,
I think you could. I mean, it's obviously a lot funner driving the hypercars and really getting into the endurance racing, but you don't have to do that in the first 6 months in the game, and you can take that time to build into it, like we spoke about before.
Sorry, I was just concentrating then.
No, that's all right. I've been doing the same from time to time. This is going to be a busy 6-hour race. I don't know about you.
It's going to be a very busy 6-hour race.
I'm glad I put AI in this. I contemplated doing a one of the 40-minute into race or 45-minute ones like you suggested.
Yep.
And that's why I thought I'll put AI in, so I've got at least some exposure to other cars. But I've got a feeling there'll be some incidents this race.
Oh yeah. The bonus thing is you've got a bit of runoff, so if you do have some contact, it's not like you're going to fire into a wall in the first instance. There is a bit of grass area.
Yeah, there is. It's and I think the areas you're going to have incidents aren't high speed either.
No.
That'll all change come race day and the red mist comes over though. You know it as well as I do.
That's right. You get your own little battles against teams in there and go, oh, I've got to catch this bloke.
Yep. I think this will be one of the last endurance races on the calendar, though. We got a couple of shorter events coming up, and one more
Fuji.
12-hour. Yep.
The Fuji 8-hour, I think it is. They'll be back into a GT3 for that one.
Beautiful. Do you have a preference in duration for endurance events? Like, do you prefer the shorter sort of 3-hour VRS ones that we were doing, or do you prefer the 24-hour really big strategy events?
I don't know. I enjoy it. I suppose it's the company, you know what I mean? I'm just happy gibbering with you guys. I think I prefer the longer ones. It's like the 3 hours are too quick.
Yep.
6 hours, yeah. 12 hours is too quick again, but 24 hours is too long. You know, it's because you don't get to talk to everybody because obviously people are going to sleep before they drive, so you haven't got the whole team in comms chatting. You know what I mean? So I think that's a bit of a distraction for 24 hours, but the sense of achievement when you complete it is fantastic.
Absolutely, it is. Well, there's a lot of carnage there on the back straight with the AI. Wow.
Mm.
We had that infamous, what was the last 24-hour we did where I drove with hand controls? Le Mans.
That's right.
That's the sort of stuff that makes it all worthwhile, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, look, I was going to be devastated if we had to pull over and retire the car.
Oh, we were doing well for that in preparation, weren't we?
Yeah.
And that was just a comedy of errors, but it's that was a true sign of MARL. That was the way that all come together, and it was you couldn't write that script, could you?
No way. Oh, there goes a Mustang. I must say, this game, the graphics have improved out of sight for when I first started on it. You couldn't match the graphics on ACST on console. It was just beautiful and crisp. And this felt a bit arcadey with the way the graphics were. But just watching those cars as going past there now, it's amazing.
It is. That was that the new paint that you painted, that one you put in Discord chat today? Was that the new paint shine or whatever they've added in there?
Yes, they've done a really good job with it. So I was explaining to the punt what it was that, say for instance you wanted when I do the reds, and I want to make it chrome or something like that, well, it would change the colour, so it would make it light, usually darker, when you put a bit of chrome to it. They've now fixed it where the red, whatever colour you use, and you put it in the spec, it stays that shade, and you actually just get the metallic look to it. So it was very hard to do silvers, for instance, a chrome, because you would put it as white and it was too chrome, and then you'd put a bit of grey to it and it wasn't quite enough, and yeah, it was a bit frustrating at times trying to get the paints done. But for me also, the painting is very much like therapy. A lot of people these days, they'll do drawing or colouring in, adults, and I used to have a bit of a chuckle about that, going, adults colouring in, what's it good for? It's actually good self-care. It's good for your mental health, doing those kind of things. So for me, just painting a car, like I spent the afternoon painting a car, it was very therapeutic for me. It was just, I enjoyed painting, coming up with the colour schemes and everything else. That was brilliant.
It is good fun, and what you've come up with is amazing. Jumbo is the man behind Jumbo's Chop Shop, who did put together the livery for the Aston Martin, the Leukodystrophy Australia livery. That's been seen in a few streams now, and you'll see it more throughout this month. So we'll need to get Jumbo's Chop Shop up and running and get you painting cars for more people, mate.
Yeah, look, I loved painting that Aston for you. When you came to me with the idea of racing for James and doing their laps for Leuko, that I had to be a part of that. You weren't getting a choice. I was painting you a car.
No, that was the very first thing, and so the way the leagues jump behind it, because we'll say it again and again, we are pretty much a family here, and the way you guys have all jumped behind it is pretty cool. And that's what, like I said, even if I wasn't doing it, and I was at a point not going to do it, I had to pull away because I had needed to make sure I could make it work between work and life and all that stuff, and I'm glad I have, because now that we're running this month, and the guys that have jumped in chat while I've been racing and streaming and just been laughing at what you guys are talking about, because you guys know I'm listening and you carry on like you would normally do anyway. So it reminds me of how lucky I am to be in the league and have that available to me. I will be back in the league chat with you guys at the end of this month, but that's the fun of it all, and watching it, listening to it from effectively an outsider's perspective now. Like you guys, I said, well, the conversations we have are crazy at times, but listening to it, knowing what it's like being in it, and then sort of being a little bit removed from it, it's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, that is what this is all about.
You kind of forget where you are.
Yep.
It's just like you forget that we're separated by distance, and you jump on these conversations. It's just like having your mates around in your house.
It is.
And you just talk freely, and sometimes you forget that the stream's on and people could be listening, and we might get a little bit controversial at times, but it's just a time and place thing, like, because we're all so comfortable with each other, we can sit in here and it's like we're all just sitting around a table having a beer.
Exactly right. We have spoken a few times about having to organise a catch-up one day and bringing a sim rig and just jumping in and doing a 24-hour race as a bunch of blokes in a shed. Hey,
that would be absolutely awesome to do that.
I reckon that'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You probably, I reckon, to do it, if we had 2 rigs.
Yep.
That way you could sign in and out of accounts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so you wouldn't get disqualified. It'd actually make it
disqualified. Yeah. So as the next person jumps in the second rig, the other rig, you sign into their account, so you're ready to go in that hour's time. So 2 rigs, you could do that really well, signing in and out of accounts.
Absolutely. There you go. Well, now this idea's getting even better. It's going to happen. It'll happen.
Leuko can get us down to Adelaide, and we'll do it.
Absolutely. No, we will. That'll be fun. I think we need to do that. That'd be awesome.
There would be a way of doing it.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And well, it's just modern technology, isn't it? Now these sim rigs can be plug and play. So all you need is one PowerPoint and one data cable, and you're good to go.
Yeah. It's just to make sure the internet connection's strong enough.
So I had one last question for you. So we've obviously touched on a few topics here. So obviously we've spoken about the online community, the friendships we've developed, everything that goes along with sim racing. The most important question: what advice would you have for somebody considering joining a league? That's really the biggest thing, because there's a lot of. I'm hoping that the reach of this YouTube channel, Racing for James, is because it's aimed not just at YouTube sim racing. It is aimed at raising awareness and that sort of stuff. What advice would you have for somebody who's not in sim racing or not in a gaming community to join a league? What would you say to them?
Do it. Just get involved. But go in with the right attitude and the open mind. Go in there thinking you're a complete rookie and you've got to learn everything. You know, a bit of it might be a bit of suck eggs, you know what I mean, at times. However, listen to the other people, listen to the experience, and soak it all in, and just get involved. Because if you just put it off, you won't do it. By getting in league racing, you're in a smaller group, a smaller pack, and it's a bit more forgiving, and people will teach you and help you get up to speed, and only improve you when you go off and do, you know, official races in iRacing, you know, away from the league racing. The league racing will prepare you for that, and will help you out. So I say, don't be hesitant. Find a league that you're interested in. There's plenty out there. There's supercars leagues, there's GT3 leagues, there's our league that does a bit of everything. Yeah, there's pretty much leagues for everyone, and in a time slot that's suitable for everybody. You know, just do it and get involved in it.
Absolutely, that's the best advice for anything, really, isn't it? It really
Yeah.
is. You just got to trust in yourself. I know it is hard to do, and a lot of people that do gaming, like we spoke about before, do have those mental health issues potentially. And I'm not saying everyone has that, but a lot of people that are into gaming do have those concerns. But as somebody who's been through that roller coaster to a certain extent lately, it is absolutely a good environment and a supportive environment if you find the right league. So you have to just back yourself a little bit, have that confidence if you can, and just join up for a race. You don't have to join in comms; just join in and ease yourself into it as you see fit. But much like Jumbo, I'd encourage everyone to just do it if you can. Once a week, once a month, just get out there and try and experience it, because it might change your life. It really genuinely might. It sounds crazy, but it is possible.
And don't ever feel you're stuck in a league. You know, like, go out and experience other leagues. You might, the first league you join, they might not be your people. You know, you might not like the people, you might not like how it's run. You're not contracted there.
That's right.
Boys, and it's not like going to sign up for a footy team and you've got to kind of stick out the whole season, you know. If you don't like the league that you've joined, go try another one. There's plenty of out there. And then you might go, oh, you know what? That one wasn't too bad. I'll actually go back to it. You know, like, it's a learning process. You go, it's your money, you're invested in it. Find the crowd, find your people, and find what you want to do.
Well, I was concentrating on our conversation that much. I didn't hear Jeff say that I'd had no fuel and I just ran out of gas. There you go, mate. So if anyone has been listening, I hope you've forgotten to eat your dinner, or I hope you've forgotten to wash the dog or something, because I just forgot to fill up with fuel. I've been enjoying that conversation. But you are bang on, Jumbo. We've had a pretty good chat there about what league racing is. So I've got to ask as well. Do you have any questions about what Racing for James is, or what we're doing here?
Uh,
Not that you have to. It's just a spare of the moment question.
I think that we can build from this. I think this was a good way for you to get your foot in the door, and it was something that you had to do. I felt that you had to do on your own, although, you know, with our support, obviously, just for your own sake. You know what I mean? For your own self-benefit and own belief that you could do this. I think that next year we can make this bigger and better. You know, I think we can do a annual event, a car track combo, and have an annual, well, especially the size of the grids you can get in now with iRacing, and with all the different splits and that. I think we could have make this a major event and really make some serious money.
Absolutely,
donations wise, when I say make some money for the organisation.
Absolutely, it's there's a lot of organisations, and the charity market, so to speak, it is effective. That it is a pretty competitive market, and it's a platform, like I said to you, and like I said to my viewers as well. It is a platform that we're lucky enough to have, and we can use online content to raise awareness. It's a very, very good tool, and if somebody like me talking about a disease that I didn't know about until 6 months ago helps somebody else deal with their life and their circumstances as well, that's exactly what this project is here for. And it's in its infancy, and Jumbo, you are 100% spot on. When I originally floated the idea to Missed Apex Racing League about laps for Leuko, I was very, very excited. I had instant support from everyone, and then I hit a couple of hurdles. I won't go into too many details about it, but I hit a couple of hurdles where I really thought I wasn't going to be able to make it, and it wasn't any mental issues, it was real life stuff. So I had to make sure I could actually commit and make it work. And then it was after we got back from our catch up, things really sort of come together, and I thought, you know what, I do need to do this for me. It is a part of my way of coping. Like I said, I am mostly over the mental side of receiving a diagnosis of leukodystrophy, but this sort of stuff is what I really like to do. Like I said, I'm not here to fix the world's problems by any stretch, but this having the opportunity in the forum to chat about my life, my circumstances, and this project, it can open up a whole world to other people as well, and it's something I just feel I really want to do, and I've always wanted to do it since I first built Racing for James some 10 years ago. And I'm kind of glad I am back to it now. So I do really genuinely appreciate your support, Jumbo. It does mean a lot to me, and the help to actually get it off the ground and running and keeping me going. It's great.
It's my pleasure, mate. And I'm actually really proud of you for sticking it through. I was a bit worried about you not going through with it to start off with, because it's understandable. It can get a bit overwhelming with everything that you're facing. But I'm really proud of you for sticking this out and getting it out there. And like you, I had no idea about this condition until I met you.
Nope.
Didn't even know it existed.
No, it's well, I hate to say there's probably a lot of it out there, and like I said, it's crazy. It really is. It's the world we live in, and you don't know until you know a lot of things these days. And nobody's expected to. There's no rule book. You just got to learn on the fly.
But I know how much this means to you, and look, even just that time that I come in with on the motorcycle in Adelaide and seen the look on James and Mitchie's face, just with all those bikes coming through, and then all the questions I received just from that. Oh, who are those people you're talking to, Dave? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? So again, it's raising more awareness just through being out there and talking about it.
Exactly. That's what we need to do. We do need to talk more. We absolutely, everyone needs to, and that's the biggest lesson I've learned through my whole journey with James, is that it is perfectly fine to talk. And I don't have the joy of a huge friendship group in my day-to-day life, so these guys do cop a fair bit of it, and I'm absolutely not embarrassed by that. Absolutely not. I think it's important it's important to admit, and that's how this community becomes so important, and why we're here, really. It's all happens for a reason, doesn't it?
Absolutely it does. And people come in and out of your lives for reasons. We might not understand why, but there's a reason why we all came together and in each other's lives. There's a reason for it, and I think it is like a family, the way that we're supporting yourself and James, the way we supported Punt. A drop of the hat, bang, we often do things. You know what I mean? So, as mates do for each other.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, Mr. Jumbo, I won't keep you up too much later tonight. I know you've got other things to get to as well, and I'm not here to push you out of the chat, mate. You're more than welcome to hang around as well. But I do know that you're oh, hang on, battling a GT3 there. You do need to get yourself rested from that seat as well. So I do, mate. I really genuinely want to thank you, and like I said, it's a pleasure having you on to have a chat about the league. And mate, we'll probably hear your voice. I do hope that I can share some of the stream and some of the chat from Saturday night's race, just because I'm conscious that not all the viewers of this channel are going to be sim racers, but it'd be good to see how the team actually works and interacts during that sim race. So, during that endurance race, sorry. So, the guys and girls that watch this might get to hear you again, hopefully.
It's been my pleasure, Trav, and thanks very much for having me. And I'd love to do this again with you later on and on a different topic.
Absolutely, mate. We'll find something to chat about. I've got 19 days to fill, and people are probably sick of hearing me. I know my wife was having a good chuckle at me dribbling to myself just yesterday and the day before and the day before that. So, yeah, if you want to be a part of it, mate, there's no reason not to have everyone in here. And we do have a message to share and a story to tell, and every one of you guys are a part of it. So, again, thank you very much, mate.
Thanks again for having me, Trav. You take care, guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jumbo. Take it easy, mate.
Bye.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that was Mr. Old Man Jumbo. So it's a chat that I had planned to have in this stream, and as you would have heard, it's. Hang on, am I on mute? Nope, I wasn't on mute. You guys could hear me. That's a bonus. It was a chat that I'd wanted to have from the start of the Laps for Leukodystrophy project, because as you heard, this league and these guys are super important to me. Super important to me. I spent plenty of time with them, and we touched on quite a few topics there that are pretty in-depth, and I do need to remind everyone as well, if you are having any mental health issues, or if you are having any concerns with receiving a diagnosis or an issue in life or anything, reach out to a friend, a family, a support line. There are plenty around these days, and there's no shame in having a chat and seeking that support. I touched on it before, and I will touch on it again in another episode. I have been through that process. I understand, and whilst I might not understand exactly what you're going through, the process is very similar, and the way we deal with any crisis in our lives is very similar. So if anything we spoke about, like I said, there were a few topics we covered there. If it does raise any concerns for you, or if you feel like it might have created some emotions that you need help with, reach out to somebody who you trust and have a bit of a chat. It's an important thing to talk about, and we won't shy away from those difficult conversations, because, as I said, having been through it recently, it's taught me that even as a mid-30s man in the corporate world, you got to talk. Nobody cares. If people are going to judge you for dealing with the emotions of life in your way, that's a them problem. It's not a you problem. Don't be embarrassed by it, and you never know where your conversations will take you. I'm absolutely going to guarantee you that the road that I've been on in the last few months, and the conversations I've had with different people, has taught me a lot about myself, and it's helped teach them about themselves as well. I can reassure you of that. By telling your story, you will help somebody else along the way. You absolutely will. There's no question about that. We've got a crashed GT3. I think I ticked don't avoid players, so that's why they're crashing into us. But yeah, Jumbo, I've had the pleasure of meeting twice. He mentioned that he come down on the motorbike, so we were quite fortunate enough to cross paths when Jumbo made his way to South Australia, our home state. He rides with the Veterans Motorcycle Club, and obviously, as you heard, Jumbo's a returned serviceman. And I've through my previous sport of competitive shooting, I have had contact with a lot of veterans, a lot of servicemen and women, and I've got a real genuine passion for those people. They're incredible human beings, and what they've done for our country. So Jumbo instantly was somebody quite relatable to me because of my experience through competitive shooting, and having the chance to go and meet a lot of the veterans and a lot of the guys that have ridden across the country to come to a meeting. It was really cool, and as Jumbo said, we had James, the affectionate name of Hot Wheels, parked on the side of the road as a heap of roaring, thundering Harley Davidsons rolled into town, and he had the biggest grin on his face. So it was really cool. We didn't spend a lot of time together on that day, but we got to say hi and catch up quickly. And then we did. I spoke about it in a stream a couple of days ago. We had a bit of an unfortunate event with one of the guys, and Jumbo hit the nail on the head. We all jumped to attention and got over there to get behind him. And that's where we met quite a few of the other boys from Mr. Apex Racing League. And having met Jumbo, I obviously knew him before, but having now had the opportunity to meet a few other guys, and a few guys made a day trip out, a few of us travelled across the country, paid for flights, paid for fuel, hotels, everything to go and support one of the guys. And that's not going to happen in every league. Like, we're pretty fortunate to be able to do some of the things we do. However, to have that opportunity, it really helps me validate the conversations that we had with Jumbo today about why leagues are important. You might never ever get to meet the people on the other end of your headset, but I guarantee you, if you do get the chance to meet them for whatever reason, those people will be your best mates. They really will, and especially if you build those bonds and relationships with them in the voice chat. If you find people that are like you, that click, and you can sort of let your hair down and have a chat with, even when you've had a pretty crappy day at work or wherever you're breaking into the last corner at the end of the straight, wherever you've had your crappy day, those people, if you do believe in it, they will be there for you, like any of your real mates would as well. So yeah, league racing is huge. It is huge. Get out there. If you got a chance to do it, go and do it. It doesn't have to be sim racing. It can be whatever video game you play. Any video game. It's really cool, and technology is something that is often used for evil, but we can use for a lot of good in the world these days. And the Laps for Leuko project is my attempt at doing something good in the world. We are raising funds and awareness for Leukodystrophy. Leukodystrophy is a rare neurodegenerative condition, and we will have a bit of an episode on that condition. I myself am only really just learning about it. We've become involved in it. Well, we've had it for a lifetime, but we've only found out about it 6 months ago. So some of you might know more. Some of you might be able to help the community understand what we're dealing with and what we're facing. And part of doing that and raising that awareness, I do plan to have Leukodystrophy Australia on board. They are a charity organisation run by volunteers. They don't receive any government funding, anything along those lines. So all of the proceeds that help provide support for families comes from the generous donations from people like yourselves that are watching this stream. I know I am conscious that the dollar is tight at the moment around the world, but if you are able to support the cause, and donations and charity organisations are a competitive market, so I'm not going to push you to donate. It's just something that's out there, and that is the best way to support our channel. The donation link is in the description below. It is leuko.org.au/support us/donate now. Now, as always, the disclaimer to that is that Racing for James, so our family, don't receive any extra benefits from any donations. The donations go directly to Leukodystrophy Australia. We are simply here to raise awareness and provide another avenue for support for that organisation. We are members of the organisation following our diagnosis of leukodystrophy, so we are connected to them, but everything else, we are like normal people in the organisation. We're just here to use my hobby and my project Racing for James to spread the word about something I learned about 6 months ago. So it's something that I've chosen to do, and whether I raise $50 or $50,000, I'll be here anyway. I will be here streaming because I understand this content's not going to be for everyone. I get it. People want to watch top split drivers winning races all the time. I'm not that person. I'm here to have an honest conversation about some of the difficult aspects of life and share our journey along the way. So Racing for James is a journey. It's been a journey for us. There's a few episodes where we've had a chat about it. We'll have another chat about it, how we got to where we are, where we've come from, where we've been, where we're expected to go. But I do know, and we spoke about it with Jumbo just now, I do know that there are other people in the sim racing, in the gaming community, that are going through the same things we are. And hopefully we can create a fun place to have these sort of conversations and let our hair down. And hell, if you're into sim racing and you want to join a league, Missed Apex Racing League, you've heard from the guy who runs it about why it's fun and what it has to offer. Come and play. you'll get to hear my voice more, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but you will get to hear my voice more because I like joining in chat and stirring up the guys and girls. But I encourage it, and like I said, Missed Apex Racing League might not be the league for you. There's no harm in trying a few different leagues. Join a league every night. I mean, don't, because your wife or husband or your children might get upset with you for neglecting them. But there's nothing stopping you joining a league every day if you really wanted to. Would I? No, I wouldn't. I'm streaming every day at the moment. It's quite a busy schedule. I finished up Pilates and I got home at 7:15 my time, and I'd organised with Jumbo to jump on and have a chat with him before the stream to make sure we were all good and the audio worked. I ate dinner in about 34 seconds, and then I started filming. So it's been a busy evening, and that's what I signed up for this month. I come into this knowing that it was going to be a very, very, very busy month, but we can't raise awareness and we can't raise funds and we can't do any of that fun stuff without the long hours and the time in dedication to these projects. So this is the first ever Laps for Leuko. I've had a few chats with a few of the Missed Apex Racing League guys about what we can do to make this bigger and better next year. But like every project, you've got to start somewhere. And this is my somewhere. We're just here. I'm chatting to myself most nights of the week. It doesn't bother me. I'm happy to do it. You should hear me chatting to myself when I'm in the garden or whatever. My wife thinks it's hilarious. So you're not going to escape that if you tune in and watch these streams. That's me. I'm here, and this is the real me. And whether I go off on a tangent talking about who knows what. I think last night we were giving away our cat. I take life seriously, but I also know when to not take it seriously, and that's the biggest thing I've learned about myself is when to just switch off, and I think I've got that balance pretty good. I've got a pretty crazy job at times, but I know that when the day's done, the day's done, and I'm just a normal garden variety person who's now got his face on the internet, and that's pretty crazy, really. I did notice there's a few MARL guys in here. They did chat to us earlier. I was deep in conversation with Jumbo, so if you are watching from Missed Apex Racing League, I do apologise for ignoring you. I probably crashed into you at some point as well because I really wasn't concentrating, but I do appreciate you guys joining as well, and the league racing battles, all the fun we've had over the last couple of years, we'll hopefully continue to have as well. I plan to. So what are we driving, guys? We're driving the LMP2, which is a prototype. The car in front of us is a GTP. Quiz me on what that stands for and you'll get an answer of silence because I've got absolutely no idea. GTP, what can we assume that stands for? Great traction power. No, that's a pretty average name. That wasn't even trying then, really, was I? That was pretty average. I don't know what GTP stands for, but we are driving an LMP2, and you'll be pleasantly surprised to know that I don't know what LMP stands for either. Luxury Machine of Performance. I don't know what LMP2 stands for, but it's the mid-category car. So you can see in front of us the GTP has accelerated away. The other cars we've been driving past are GT3. They are road-going race cars, basically. Some of the cars you can actually buy as a GT3 kit. The Porsche, for example, Porsche 911 something or other GT3. You can buy them. I've driven one in my time as a tradesman. I've had the ability to drive a road-going GT3. Probably it's still got speakers and all the fun stuff that a road car has. It just has a roll cage in it from the factory from Porsche. Really cool. Obviously the race car versions have downforce and they've got like less stuff and more stuff that you don't have on the road car, but that's what they're based on. They are based on road cars, which makes it quite an attractive form of motorsport. A lot of, well, the prototypes are purpose built. This thing here is a purpose built race car. The GT3s are purpose-built as well, but they're relatable for a lot of people. Much like the good old days of V8 supercars in Australia, the GT cars are something that I've become quite fond of. I think because it's real cars, there's a diverse makeup of manufacturers, etc. It does create a bit of variety and competition in the sport. Not to say that you can't like supercars. I'm still a big fan, and we watch Bathurst every year, and we go to a couple of races here and there when we can. But this stuff is, since becoming involved in it through sim racing and developing the understanding of how it works, it's becoming more exciting to me. Things like the Bathurst 12 hour, it's not multi-class racing like this, but it's something that I look at and go, wow, that's actually really cool. And I think even in Australia there could be a good market for it.
Car on your left. Still there, hold your line. Clear on the left.
We are practicing against all the cars. So the moral of my story, what was I getting to? So we're driving a 6-hour endurance race on Saturday. The plan will be to not crash for 6 hours. That's going to be quite a feat, judging by how tight some of the sections in this track are. We're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Brickyard is the original name of this place. The start and finish line, we're going across somewhere here is actually a line of bricks from the original circuit. And our livery, as you will see on the thumbnail for this YouTube video, is a brick. So we have had Jumbo's Chop Shop have a bit of a laugh, and we have a bit of a laugh at the heritage of the Brickyard. And he's...
You've got wheel damage.
Oh, we've got wheel damage, that's not ideal. He's painted our livery as a brick, which is really cool. I think that's pretty funny, and hopefully some people during the race get a chuckle out of that. I really, really hope they do, because it's what you can do. You can have a bit of a laugh with this sort of stuff. There's some amazing liveries getting out there, and there's some amazing drivers out there. Like we've got Max Verstappen drives on here. I've driven with V8 supercar drivers. It's there's a chance for exposure and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we get some of those guys a laugh. Not that we'll be driving with Max Verstappen, unless he decides to hand in his whatever 10,000 I rating is on and come down to us 2,000 plebs. I don't think we'll be driving with him, but he will likely be in the race at somewhere, no doubt. We do start to see some of familiar faces. We've done quite a few endurance races, and when you drive the same car, you do start to see the same people popping up, which is really cool. We're well and truly off pace. There's a GTP doing LMP2 doing 17s.
Right side. Clear on the right.
I'm assuming he's better than me. I don't know where I could find 3 seconds. 3.2 seconds. It's going to be a pretty big feat.
Car right. Keep to the left. Clear on the right.
He might be doing qualifying runs, he might be a 10k driver, he might be just good. I'm happy not to be the fastest. Don't have aspirations to be the fastest. That's perfectly fine with me. How long we've been going? We've been going an hour and a half now, guys. Probably going to go another half an hour, I think, is the plan. We'll do a 2-hour stream today. The premise of this was a chat with Jumbo, and we're going to be adding laps for Leuko still. So far 48 laps. I don't know how long Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course is. My secretary is not sitting there. She's laying down in the bedroom not listening to me dribble, because she gets to hear me all day, unlike you guys that get to hear me a couple of hours a day at the moment. But if you do want to hear me all day, I'm sure we can find a spare bed. Got a tent or something you can stay in. But you do have to listen to me all day as well. That'll be the only caveat, so careful what you wish for. We are going to tuck in to try and see if we can do some serious practice now though. Gonna pass this guy.
Right side. the right.
Yeah, so we're driving. This is the first practice I've done at the track for Saturday night. We will kick off at 4:30 Australian Central Standard Time on Saturday evening, and that will be a 6-hour live stream. I've yet to check with Autobat. My plan will be to not spin the car. My plan will be hopefully to stream the whole race, so that everyone can hear what it's like to be in that team environment. So the chatter, the banter, all that sort of stuff. It can get pretty fun at times, and obviously if everyone knows that we are streaming, we'll be mindful of that, because sometimes we do let our hair down a little bit. It's much like working in a workshop or speaking out on a night with your mates. Sometimes these things do get a bit carried away, so we will obviously be respectful to the viewers in that respect. Not that we go over the top all that often, but we are human as well. So and we're driving race cars and we get frustrated and we get flustered and we just have fun and get carried away too. So yeah, we'll obviously be mindful of that, but if the guys are keen, that might be cool even for an hour or so just to have them in the chat. I will need to remain in the conversation with those guys as well, so it will be a purely race-based stream. That's hard. Say that 4 times fast. I couldn't even say it 3 times slow. So it will be purely focusing on the 6-hour event. I'm not going to be able to talk for 6 hours, so we'll get to see the car from a few different angles and all that stuff as we're spotting and strategizing and adjusting and sitting in pits with a meatball, etc. But I'm going to invite you guys along for the ride. It'll be a bit of fun, hopefully. We have a couple of league nights coming up still. We've got 5 more league nights to get through this month. We've also got hopefully some other interview sort of scenarios lined up. There's a few guys from MARL that I'd like to have a chat with, and I really am keen to get Leukodystrophy Australia on board, even for a half-hour chat or something like that in one of the episodes. I think it'd be pretty invaluable during laps for Leuko to have the guys that we are here for. I haven't spoken directly with them about it yet, about the plans or what we'll talk about, but we will maybe do that towards the end of the month. And I also am in the process of drafting up a bit of a conversation about leukodystrophy, because I think that is important. I mean, Google's going to tell you pretty much exactly what I'm going to tell you, so if you are interested in what we're facing as a family and what this organisation is about, have a look. It can be pretty confronting, so if you do have a look, just be mindful that it's not always great, but as I said, we will have a chat with it because that's what this project is here to do as well. We will also have some fun along the way. I know we've done a few just purely race nights. We'll do more of that. I don't have enough content to fill 7.5 hours a week. I'm not here to do that either. It's a bit of a balance, this project. It is a racing channel and I'm here to race cars, but I'm also here to raise awareness, so it'll be a bit up and down and back and forth, and I'll never make any apologies for that. I'm going to remain pretty open and upfront that this is what this channel's about. It's not going to be top split races winning races here and there. It might be, because this stream might help me get better at it. Maybe I'll trigger the iRacing algorithm and they'll let me win a heap of races because I'm on YouTube. I don't think it works that way, but imagine if I did, because I'm on YouTube they go, cool, oh, let's make a typo when we upgrade his license. Now he's a 12k driver and I'll be one of the best drivers in the world overnight. Don't think that's going to happen. I think you still need to earn your stripes in a race car, and I haven't earned my stripes in a race car. I am 4 seconds nearly off the pace of the fastest guy in LMP2. I don't think he's chatting. Maybe he is chatting on YouTube, I shouldn't assume, but I don't think he's chatting on YouTube. And I did chat with Jumbo prior to this stream starting about something being wrong with the tune in this car or the way we're driving it, because we're just not fast. We're not fast. We don't want to be the fastest, but we need to try and be competitive. Because ultimately these long endurance events we put time and effort into, and we do want to try and get results from them, just for our own enjoyment. Like it really is genuinely fun winning a race with your mates. Even just doing well, not crashing out, being consistent, getting through it unscathed is a hell of a lot of fun. So it is worth putting that effort in for your mates, because they are investing their 6 hours on Saturday night to spend with me. So I have to put it. I've got to commit to it. That's the whole purpose of it. And I don't have to commit for them. I have to commit for me, because I'm giving up my 6 hours. I've just got the added pressure of those guys giving it up as well. So. Obviously I've set up, or not obviously, because you don't know, I have set up another hosted session for tonight. So the hosted session is just basically where I pay a couple of dollars to iRacing to rent a server. You can, because this is race week, so effectively on, well, Australian time, 10 AM on a Tuesday, every week it switches over to the next week of iRacing. So currently we're in week 1. It is Wednesday if you're watching this on any other day rather than live. So because this race is on Saturday this week, all of the race servers, there will be servers open for online practice. However, they generally only go for maybe 2 hours, and then trying to find one. No. So they're only open for a couple of hours, so I wanted to make sure I could stay in the server long enough to stream and actually keep it consistent as well. And it's only 50 cents an hour, so it's not a huge cost. It doesn't matter. That's why we're only seeing a lot of AI. There are a few guys in the session, but I set it up with AI so I can get the practice around other cars and start looking at my mirrors and watching what's happening in the universe around the LMP2. But there are a couple of guys floating around somewhere on the track, and they will jump in and out throughout the night. I've got another hour left on it after this, so the server stays open even if I'm not in it, and I feel it's a good way to practice. The AI are a bit hit and miss from time to time, but that's a lot like online racing as well. You never ever know whether you're going to get dive bombed on a corner when you shouldn't, or whether you're going to get that little bit of racing room.
Left side. Clear on the left.
So good reason to set up AI and just run laps and practice. So maybe I could do a 17 or a 19 on a clean lap without any traffic, but I haven't had very many clean laps, so. And generally when you race, not all your laps are clean in multi-class. Once the race starts, you're in a battle pack for, say there's 20 LMP2s, there'll be 20 cars fighting you for the first 5 laps, and then by the time that's done, the GTPs will be catching you and starting to overtake, and then by that stage the
Keep to the left.
by that stage the GTPs will be overtaking you, and then you'll be overtaking the GT3s.
Car on your left. Clear on the left.
So interestingly, the GT3s are actually better under brakes in a lot of spots, because they've got ABS and all that fun stuff. I think this has ABS. Yeah, this has ABS, but it does lock up very, very quickly. As the downforce effects come off from the speed, it does lock up the brakes. The GT3s do as well, but they do have that ability to stop better in a couple of these braking zones. or I'm not driving the car aggressively enough. You can see that GTP just accelerate away. They're much faster, and we're a little bit faster. So obviously this is a good sign of the car. There's GT3 on our left, GTP in front of us, and we're in the middle. And we will fine-tune the setup that we're going to run for the race. And generally what will happen is we'll log on about half an hour before the actual race server opens, and we will run another practice session. I will maybe on Friday night run some more practice laps. I was planning on running the Leukodystrophy Australia Aston Martin on Friday night, which I might still do, and then I might jump into this as well. I would like to do another GT4 fixed race. I really enjoyed that in season 3 of iRacing, so I'm going to stick to the. Wow, we've got good acceleration here. We've got the aerodynamic toe from the car in front. The AI GTP. He's 6th fastest overall, so he is faster than us. Wonder if we can follow him around for a lap. Let's see if we can find him on the list. 6, Susan Flynn. No, that's not them. It's car 37. Who knows? Okay, pinching the brakes is not going all that well. So a stint in the GTP, the GTP LMP2 is normally about 40 to 45 minutes. So there'll be 3 stints each on Saturday night, providing we keep the car clean and intact and not spin it 2 corners in a row. That was caused by hot tyres. I just really went straight back into my standard driving style. Yeah, effectively we'll do 3 laps each. 3, that'll be plenty, guys. 3 laps each, thank you. We'll do 3 stints each of 40 to 45 minutes. That'll give us about 2 hours in the car per driver. I have done 2.4 hour races, so these on every second Saturday or every second weekend, I say. Every second weekend, these IMSA spec races, so GTP, LMP2 and GT3 have a 2.4 hour race, so 2 hours and 40 minutes. I've done those solo, and that's a great way to spend the afternoon. Very, very fun races, and the 2.4 hours is 4 stints, so you can settle in, you get a break every 40 minutes to stretch your legs, and then you're back into it for another 40 minutes. So very, very busy races, as I've said before, having to worry about faster and slower cars. But when I was driving the LMP2 as my primary car, it was second nature. I'm now driving the GT4 as my primary car, so jumping into this and dealing with the traffic is a little bit to adjust to. But it's not impossible. It's like riding a bike, riding a horse, whatever. It's like driving a race car. Just get in and do. I will need to find out. I will generally get a little bit faster ahead of the race anyway. You're seeing my first 60 laps in the car. I'll probably only end up doing about 60 laps for the race, given, oh hang on, it's been an hour and 40 minutes. So what are we doing, an hour and a half, 2 tanks? Yeah, okay, so, and I did mess around at the start, so it is about 45 minutes per tank, that's an hour and a half, so somebody will do slightly less than that 2 hours at the end.
Car on your left, clear on the left, go left. Car right,
but that's
clear
okay.
on the right. Car right.
Whether it be me, I don't particularly mind, to be brutally honest. I'd rather the other guys spend time in the car, and I'm there for support and a bit of fun along the way. if one of us is doing significantly better than the other, we'll keep that driver in. We are pretty adaptive on the day. We are pretty good at doing that, and that is a part of the fun. Generally, when we get into the car, our team strength is that we're all very, very similar pace in the car. So generally between our fastest and slower driver might be a second and a half.
Don't forget to pit for more fuel.
Oh wow. Getting dizzy. So we're generally very, very, very good at getting Travi. Very, very good at getting through endurance races on that as one of our strengths. Generally, you'll get into an endurance race where a team will be a very, very high I rating driver and a very, very low one because it brings their average down. We've got a spread of about 1,000 I rating between us, and our average usually puts us sort of in the middle of the splits amongst drivers and amongst the race as a whole. So it is running out of fuel. Yeah, it is pretty good for us to have the guys all around the same pace, even though we are split by about 1,000 I rating. It helps the other guys boost their rating, and it helps us develop our skills as well. I'll be back in a second. I'm going to let the car fix. I'll be 2 seconds.
Repairs are almost finished up.
That was a good little stretch. I'm finished up at Pilates today. Like I said before, I had Pilates,
Move it.
and I got home with about 5 minutes to go before jumping on with Jumbo. So had to stretch my legs and get a bit of a snap. A bit of a snack. I can't even get my words together. It's been a busy week. I had an annual leave this week to try and get some work done around the house before James has surgery. He's getting a few things done to his legs to help strengthen him up and help save our backs with his transitions, etc. So I wanted to try and finish a few jobs around the house, so I took the week off. But I also decided to load up on physio and Pilates and self-care as well. So I had Pilates and dry needling, and then I've had Pilates, and then I've got Pilates again tomorrow. So it's a busy week, but I'm feeling really, really good for it. And even just having the routine of jumping in the sim rig every single day, and making sure that I keep the balance of life. Making sure I keep the balance of life and meeting my obligations as a parent, and all that says, I mean, obviously I'm neglecting a little bit of it because it does consume time. It puts a bit of extra pressure on my wife, but she knew what I was signing up for, and it was always the plan. And if the family didn't want me to do this, I wouldn't be here. But they know how much racing and how much racing for James meant to me 10 years ago, and they know how much it means to me now, and they know how much sim racing means to me as well. Just a guy in the mid-pack driving a pretend race car, having a bit of fun. It is my outlet. I have been in real world motorsport. I've been in competitive shooting. I've done a few things. I've been very fortunate, to be brutally honest. Very fortunate to do some of the things I've done and see some of the things I've seen. And there's obviously people way more fortunate than me as well, but I consider myself pretty lucky. So, and then to have the support of the racing league behind me as well. Hopefully we can attack this with 2 avenues and grow Missed Apex Racing League, and then next year we'll have a massive league to try and do a massive amount of laps for Leuko. I know myself, I completed only it was 600 laps exactly last season in iRacing, so in 12 weeks I did 600 laps. I'm getting faster. So 12 weeks, 600 laps. I've been competing laps for Leuko for 10 days. Well, this is the 11th day. And before I started this stream, I had done 917 laps. So what we should do... That's the tyre squeeze. What we should do is we should drive 83 laps. So we'll do 20 more laps, and that will make it exactly 1,000 laps for Leuko. I think that's a brilliant idea. Today will be 1,000 lap day. 20 laps will be most of this tank. It'll be 1,000 lap day. That's our goal, guys. We're getting to 1,000 laps today. I did 600 laps in 12 weeks. 1,000 laps in 11 days. I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. And if you go back and watch some of our previous streams, go and watch the oval race. So on Sunday night, there is a video from me in ovals, and then on Monday night there's another video that says, I think I called it "If at first you don't succeed, try again." Watch the video before that and then watch the second one. You'll understand the roller coaster this week has been, and the exact purpose of what this project is to me. It is to show that roller coaster. That's exactly what it's like as a sim racer online. Exactly 100% what it's like. It's a roller. It's what it's like being a human. But that's what keeps me going, and that's what keeps me here, and that's what this channel's about. It's about the grind through those difficult times, because our life is going to be difficult at times. It's been difficult for me this year, and on Thursday, Are You OK Day, we'll have a bit of a chat about that. That's tomorrow, for anyone playing at home. So tomorrow's stream we'll touch on some of the challenges we've faced. But I said to Jumbo before, I'm actually not embarrassed. I don't care. Happy to share my story. It's yeah, it doesn't bother me. It really genuinely doesn't. If people are offended by my story, I look at that and wonder what I can do to help them a little bit more through my story, if that makes sense. It's a difficult topic, and especially as a mid-30s man, being in the motorsport world, being in the competitive shooting world, being in the industry I work in, it's yeah, it's not very common that we come across these scenarios, and I figure it's the least I can do. Try and combine my experience with my passion to show that we are all human, and even though a lot of us are fighting different battles from different sporting backgrounds, different employment backgrounds, we all go through the same stuff, and it's absolutely okay to talk about. Absolutely it is. we're getting a little bit faster now. We did our fastest lap last lap. We're definitely not going to get to a 17. We are definitely getting to 1,000 laps tonight though. That's a given. We've only got 18 laps to go. $18 laps to go, and we'll be at 1,000 laps for Leuko. I'll be doing plenty more laps, irrespective of the financial benefit to laps to Leukodystrophy Australia. I'm not here with any specific fundraising goals. My goal is to do what I can to help support the charity that provides so much for families like mine. And if they do receive a bit in return from my generous followers and people learning along this route, I really do thank everyone that does make that dream happen for them, and for the families that money will benefit. I do want to say thank you on their behalf as well. Leukodystrophy Australia is an organisation that we will reach out to. I've already had plenty of chats with them before even deciding to kick this off for Leukodystrophy Australia. Our interaction started with them, and I had really felt the support of that organisation from the very first conversation. So I know, having not received any financial support, only the advocacy side, I understand how much donations do make a difference in the life of families like mine. So thank you to everyone who has donated and anyone considering donating. I do appreciate that you've given it some thought and consideration. And it is important to note that the organisation is run solely by volunteers, and it's not government funded in any particular way. So the research, the time that Leukodystrophy Australia provide to help grow and support the community is done by us, Joe Public, through events like this. Labs for Leuko is something I've started to try and help do my part for the organisation, but they are competing in a busy charity market, because every organisation is worthy of everyone's dollar. And I do encourage you, if you do have any spare money, it doesn't have to be us. So I'm not here begging for your support or anything like that. If you do have a charity or something that's close to your heart, or something that's directly affected you, I do strongly encourage you to support those charities. And I've done plenty. Honestly, I have. I've given plenty of raised money for charities in the past, and it's something that we can all achieve together. And obviously everything donated in Australian dollars, anything over $2 is tax deductible, so you do get a bit of a benefit for your generous donations as well. And you can make a recurring donation to Leukodystrophy Australia, or you can make a one-off donation, whatever you're comfortable with. Either way, be it $2, be it $2,000, I appreciate it, and I know the people that are on the receiving end appreciate it as well, so thank you. The donation link for, as I dive up the inside here, for those playing at home, is in the description below.
Clear. Left side.
It is leuko.org.au/support us/donate now, and that will take you through to the correct page to help this great organisation.
Clear on the right.
And if you do, by some strange reason, want to join Missed Apex Racing League and hear more of my voice, put a message in the comments below and I'll send you a Discord link. You can come and join Missed Apex Racing League. You can come and race the Indy cars on a Tuesday, or the Radical SR8 on a Thursday. This week the SR8 is headed to Zolder, which I'm expecting is going to be a very, very fun track in that car. Tight, twisty little track. It's one of my favourites, which means that I won't do well. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. tune in tomorrow to find out. We'll be on from 6:30 PM Australian Central Standard Time. Yeah, 6:30 it'll be. It is league night, so I'll do a little bit of practice in the car before. We'll rack up some laps and draw us way past the 1,000 lap mark. And then we'll jump into the league server at 7 PM my time, and then into the race server into the league server, yeah, which is the race server. There'll be two 25-minute races, and I'm assuming we'll get through quite a few laps. And if we don't, we've crossed the 1,000 lap mark anyway, so...
Still there, hold your line. Clear. Car on your left. Clear.
0x car contacts there.
We got damage on the front end.
I wonder why, Jeff. Keep crashing into people. I think I'm turning into that corner too early. I actually feel like I need to learn this track a little bit better in this car. But that said, as long as I drive consistently, I've got a feeling, and you might have picked up on it, even by the way the AI are navigating the track, I've got a feeling it's going to be a pretty chaotic race in the open splits. There are a few positions here where you just have to force your way past. You would have seen me practicing that on the GT3 cars. Maybe I'm being too aggressive, but that's the way it is. If the AI don't like it, they can go back to their computing school.
Car right.
But that sort of overtake just there
Clear on the right.
is the stuff that we need to pull off in the race. And I believe generally once you know the GT3 lines, you know where you can overtake and make it stick. You just need to trust that the GT3s see that you're there. You've also seen that the speed advantage of the GTP is only really prevalent on the straights and corner exits. So when they're going through those complexes such as this, they don't have a huge advantage. So they will not want to be sending it up the inside. They'll be better off just waiting and then coming through on these straights. But we've got that difference there. You can see the speed difference.
Clear on the right.
We've got 12 laps to go. Now I hope my maths is right. I'm pretty sure I've done 917 laps. Pretty sure it is. Or is it more than that? Did I do more yesterday? No, I'm fairly sure we've done 917 laps. So if we stop at 83, that will be 1,000 laps exactly. If I've done more than 917 laps though, we're going to be over 1,000. So either way, pretty big significant night for us. And I'm feeling pretty damn good. Got another Nürburgring Endurance Championship. So the very first stream was the Nürburgring Endurance Championship in the Aston Martin GT4. I have one more of those coming up in 2 weeks' time. So that'll be another 5 hours behind the wheel in the Aston Martin GT4. And when I did that at the start of the month, that was a trip from Adelaide to Melbourne, 800 kilometres. We covered that distance in 5 hours and 20 minutes. When I drive with the family, it takes about 8.5 hours. So 3 hours faster. So what I might do is I might send the wife on a trip to Melbourne
Car on your left.
on that day.
Clear.
And
Car
I'll be
right.
finished before she
Clear
gets
on the
there.
right.
I won't have even left the living room. Probably would have raided the pantry though, so she'll need to leave me lots of lollies and chips and all that fun stuff. It is a big drive. But I'm feeling pretty comfortable in the rig and feeling pretty comfortable with all the exercise that I have been doing and looking after my body. And I will have the other Missed Apex Racing League guys. Lord Volt will be in there, no doubt, in his Toyota 86. Autobat will be there. He finished third in the third. I think he finished third. Autobat will be there in his car. No, that was a different event. He finished third in. He was driving with somebody else. He was in a team. I don't even know. It was only a week ago, guys. I can't even remember. Can't even remember. Lord Volt finished third in the... Or did he win?
Left side.
I think no, he won. Lord Volt won in the Racing for James Toyota 86. That's right. So he got the win on the very last lap after 4 long hours in the hot seat. I actually think that'd be a really fun drive in the GR86. I am committing to the Aston Martin though, that is my car of choice. And you can't stop me! It's not the fastest car out there, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I really figured there's no point in me being in the fastest car when I can't drive the slowest car consistently. Until I can manage to get through race in, race out without crashing my Aston Martin, then it will be time to start considering change of manufacturer and change of pace to try and up the ante and chase some extra points. So thank you guys. We've been here 2 hours now. I really appreciate your time. If anyone has managed to sit through the whole 2 hours of me talking, if anyone's managed to sit through the whole 11 days, 11 streams of me talking, that's a pretty good feat. And you deserve a medal. I'll gladly find a medal. I'll probably steal young Mitchell's soccer trophy. I will send you a soccer trophy. He'll get it on Saturday. He's got the grand final coming up though as well for the cup. They are championship winners. They're playing for a cup grand final on Saturday.
Right side.
And then I'll be into the racing after that. So a busy day on Saturday, but very important. We'll have the whole family there to cheer him on. We now only have 8 laps to go to hit the 1,000 laps. Now what I can do to check, I just realised I've been talking about it for a while. So I can open OBS and OBS will tell me where I finished. Ah, no, we're well over. We're at 989 laps. We're well over the 1,000 laps mark. I should have stopped at 11 laps. I only needed to do 11 laps today. So yeah, we got 917 was the day before.
Clear.
There you go. So we're well and truly over the 1,000 mark. I am going to stop on 83 because that's what I told myself we were going to do. So you guys have to put up with me for 8 more laps, which is, quick maths, it's going to be 12 minutes of racing at a minute 20 late. It's going to be less than 12 minutes of racing, but that's close enough, because no doubt I'll do something stupid and crash it again. You guys will have to wait for me to reset myself. What's really unnerving is on my right screen now, I've got OBS open and I can see me driving, and it's really weird. I've got the motion of me driving forward there, and usually my peripheral vision is the normal peripheral vision, but in my peripheral vision I can see me driving forward as well, and it's really messing with my head. Not that we're here to set lap records, because we're clearly not setting lap records, but it was a pretty interesting thing to note. I've also tried, I've got Lord Volt's VR headset sitting behind me here. I've also tried that, and that's that's a bit of fun. Could you guys imagine watching me on a live stream with a big mask on my face, basically? It'd be an interesting viewing. I'd probably turn the camera off because it'd be way less. I mean, you're looking at my bald head and all that now anyway. But yeah, I don't think that'd make for good good YouTube content to have the live stream camera on as well.
Left side.
Very, very cool technology nonetheless. most of us are in triple screen rigs, much like I've got here, and I'll show you a photo of that on my Facebook page, facebook.com/racing4James. You will find us. Trying to get better at social media stuff. I'm learning along the way. Try not to get too involved in technology, but apparently it's a necessary evil these days. So I figured I may as well try and learn, and I have done it in the past a bit. Through my competitive shooting, I had a social media page as well, and I had Racing for James as a social media page 10 years ago, so I've dabbled in it a little bit. This time we're going social media and YouTube. We will probably try and do some live streaming on Twitch as well. I don't know really if I have a preference. I don't care to try and dominate both markets. I just think it's another good way to share our journey. So I'll find some excuse to stream on Twitch, and I will continue to stream on YouTube after this month as well. Not for any random reason. Just if I find an event or a race I want to do that I'll live stream, and I will do that, even if I crash out of the race. I think I want to keep my content as genuine. Not that other people's content isn't genuine. I think I'm not using the right word there, but I want to keep it as genuine and honest as I can. So if I'm filming a race, I will be filming the race, and if I crash, I will be crashing. I'm not going to hide that content away from everyone. I would probably have time to film a couple of races a week and put the best ones up, but I don't think that's going to be a true representation of what I want to show out of this channel. So if I'm driving a 15-minute race and I crash out, we'll finish the video at 10 minutes. Maybe we'll sit in pits and we'll have a bit of a laugh and analyse what happened and go back out there. I think that's keeping in tune with my philosophy and how I play the game, and how I want to depict my experience in iRacing and in sim racing as a whole. I will also I do a little tiny bit of WRC, so I used to have a rally car that I drove in a handful of rally events, probably navigated in more and help with the logistics of different events rather than actually driving. I didn't do a great deal of it, so when I say I had a rally car, I wasn't anyone to worry about. I was just a Joe Blow trying to get into the sport. Unsuccessfully, and so I do have an interest in rally, and I always remember watching the WRC as a kid, so I play that a little bit as well. I also drive in BeamNG, which after watching a few YouTube videos I've discovered has a career mode, which is just a little bit of fun. To be honest, as much as it's fun racing every single day, I don't want iRacing to become a dirty air. I don't want iRacing to become a frustration for me. I want to keep it fun. I want to keep this as an exciting game to play. And there's always plenty of content to drive in iRacing. When I started, I was driving the rookie Rallycross series in iRacing, which I think if that series was better populated, I wouldn't play WRC, because the way iRacing have set up their dirt physics is unbelievable. The way the cars feel and handle on the dirt is great. Just not a lot of people do it, so it's very, very hard to get a split to go official in the Australian time zones at the opportunities I have to race. So I get my off-road fix through WRC. We did set up a league, Series 3 Missed Apex Racing League on WRC as well. We did a couple of rallies, but that didn't go much further. Maybe I should poke the bear and get involved in helping run that, or get it up and running again, just for that little bit of fun that's not iRacing. And like I said, BeamNG is a really good fun game to actually kick back on a night where you don't want to risk your I rating, you don't want to risk your safety rating. There might not be a track you want to run, like whatever reason, you just go, you know what, I'll jump on BeamNG and drive around and crash some cars. And the physics in that game, the crash physics in that game are incredible, unbelievable. And the way that cars drive in that game as well, like the actual the driving physics of the game Unbelievable. I got my wife to drive it.
Clear on the left.
Obviously had to explain to her what the force feedback was and help her understand what she was feeling through the steering wheel, but it's something pretty cool. It's a sandbox game from what I understand, where they test a lot of physics things and what have you. So I could just imagine if that took off in different games. It's wow, it's mind blowing. So yeah, it's a bit of fun. We have 3 laps to go until we get to our fictitious 1,000 laps, which we've actually already crossed. How many laps did we say? We had 189. So after this lap, we actually crossed it 70 laps ago, guys, and we missed that anniversary. We were busy chatting with old man Jumbo. But we're going to 83 because 83 is where I thought the 1,000 laps are going to be. So we're going to pretend to celebrate 1,000 laps. I'm not going to sell myself short though. We are doing way more than 1,000 laps today. Not today, but in total. We're going well over that 1,000 lap mark. We have just 2 laps to go to reach that milestone that's in my head that doesn't actually exist anymore. It's old news, guys. 70 laps old news. 70 laps old.
Car right. Clear on the right.
Three wide.
Left side. Clear on the left. Car on your left. Clear on the left.
We have about we have about 2 minutes 40 to go in the stream, guys. That's 82 laps to the end of this lap. No, sorry, we've got 1:20 to go in the stream, guys. So we'll finish up at the end of this lap. I do want to say a big thank you to Old Man Jumbo for joining our stream tonight. He was the very first interview at Missed Apex Racing League. Let me start that again. I want to thank Old Man Jumbo. He was the very first interview for Laps for Leuko and Racing for James. He was and still is the founding member of Missed Apex Racing League, where we spend our Tuesdays, Thursdays, and any other opportunity we get to give those guys a hard time for a bit of a laugh. But it was great to get him on board to have a bit of a chat about his life and his time and decisions in running Missed Apex Racing League. So very, very cool insight, and very, very thankful for his time tonight. We do have a project on the go called Laps for Leuko. If you're magically tuning into the end of this, where we're trying to drive as many laps as we can in September, which is Leukodystrophy Awareness Month, with the goal of raising funds and awareness for Leukodystrophy Australia. The donation link is in the chat below, and I do really appreciate you guys tuning in to all of our streams throughout the month of September. And we'll be back again tomorrow night with another league race from Zolder. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you.